There is a mindset shift that almost no one talks about. Yet it is the difference between repeating your old life and rising into the one you truly want. Most people assume their mindset isn't changing because they're not working hard enough, or reading enough, or thinking positively enough, or visualizing the right way, or repeating the right affirmations, or staying motivated. But none of that is the real issue. Here's the truth. Your mindset doesn't change because you're trying to think new thoughts with an old identity. You cannot build a new life on the foundation of who you used to be. This is the part 99% of people miss. They try to shift their mindset while still carrying the same fears, patterns, stories, labels, emotional habits, and subconscious programming that shaped the old one. It's like trying to plant new seeds in soil that hasn't been prepared. The intention is right, but the environment is wrong. So what happens? You start strong, you push, you try, you feel hopeful, and then the old patterns pull you back. Not because you're weak, not because you're failing, but because your mindset is fighting your identity, and identity always wins. Inside our community, I see this all the time. People who want change, who work for change, but who don't realize they're trying to build transformation on top of an identity that no longer fits who they're becoming. And until that deeper shift happens, mindset work feels like a battle instead of a breakthrough. This video is where that battle ends. This is where you learn the mindset shift 99% of people miss. The shift that finally unlocks the change you've been trying to make for years. If your mindset shifts never seem to last, there is a reason. A deeper mechanism operating beneath your thoughts. Mindset is surface level. Identity is structural. You can change your thoughts for a moment, a day, a week, but if they contradict your identity, your mind will always return to the old vibration. Your identity is the operating system beneath your mindset. And here is the truth that almost no one understands. Your thoughts will always revert to the identity you believe you are. If you believe deep down, I'm not capable, your thoughts will sabotage your goals no matter how positive you try to be. If your identity says, I'm unlucky, your mindset will constantly look for problems even when opportunities appear. If your identity whispers, I don't deserve success, your thoughts will find ways to reject what you've attracted and return to familiar struggle. Identity sets the emotional thermostat. Your mindset is just the temperature reading. This is why your mindset doesn't change, because your identity hasn't. Inside our community, this is one of the biggest aha moments people have. They realize their struggle was never a lack of willpower or discipline. It was a lack of identity alignment. They didn't need to force new thoughts. They needed to become the version of themselves who naturally thinks them. And when this clicks, everything changes. Because altering your identity isn't about pretending to be someone else. It's about removing the outdated layers that no longer reflect who you truly are. When identity shifts, your mindset follows, your behavior follows, your energy follows, your opportunities follow, your life follows. This is the part 99% of people miss. They try to manifest from the surface instead of transforming at the root. Once you understand this, you stop asking, why can't I stay consistent? And you start asking, what identity am I returning to? That question is the doorway to transformation. Now we go deeper into the identity shift that unlocks every mindset change you've ever wanted to make. This is the part almost everyone overlooks. The shift beneath the shift. The transformation beneath the mindset. The root beneath the thought. Mindset changes your thoughts. Identity changes your life. Because your identity is the internal compass that tells your mind, this is who we are, this is what we expect, this is what we accept, this is what we believe is possible. Your identity determines how you speak to yourself, how you interpret experiences, how you respond to challenge, how you handle opportunity, how you pursue goals, how you navigate fear, how you shape your entire reality. And here is the truth 99% of people miss. You cannot think your way out of an identity you haven't outgrown yet. Identity must shift before thoughts can stick. Identity must expand before beliefs can change. Identity must elevate before mindset becomes effortless. 1. Identity is the anchor of your vibration. Your identity holds the emotional frequency you live in every day. This is why affirmations fail if they contradict your identity, and why manifestations stall when your identity vibrates at a frequency the future cannot land in. Your identity is the signal you broadcast into the universe. When it shifts, your vibration strengthens, your mindset stabilizes, your energy rises, your world responds. 2. Identity is the story you tell yourself about who you are. And most people live inside stories they did not choose. Stories written by past failures, childhood conditioning, old fears, old beliefs, old patterns, old pain. But those stories are outdated. They were written by a version of you who had less experience, less strength, less clarity, less awareness than the person you are today. Identity work is not about becoming someone new. It is about finally becoming someone true. 3. Identity shifts when awareness expands. There is a moment of realization, where you look at your old patterns with new eyes and say, I am not this person anymore. Not because you're trying to convince yourself, but because something inside you has outgrown the old identity's constraints. This moment is like a crack of light breaking through an old shell, the beginning of an internal awakening. And inside our community, this is the moment people talk about most, when they realize their identity was never broken, just buried. And when it emerges, everything begins to accelerate. 4. Identity changes when you shift your expectations. The highest version of you expects different things than the old one. The old identity expected setbacks, scarcity, stress, disappointment, self-doubt. The expanded identity expects alignment, growth, support, opportunity, higher standards. Expectation is the command center of your vibration. Shift your expectation and your identity follows. Shift your identity and your life follows. 5. Identity alignment is the missing link. This is the mindset shift 99% of people miss. You don't change your mindset to transform your life. You change your identity. Mindset is the surface. Identity is the source. When your identity aligns with the version of you who already lives the life you desire, your thoughts align naturally. Your habits align effortlessly. Your vibration aligns continuously. Your reality aligns inevitably. Identity alignment is the bridge between mindset and manifestation. Once you understand identity as the foundation of your life, everything falls into place. Your mindset, your emotions, your vibration, your actions, your opportunities, your destiny. Next, we move to the micro solution, the first step you can apply today to begin shifting your identity toward the life you desire. Now that you understand the real architecture behind transformation, that mindset sits on the surface, but identity lives at the root. The natural question becomes, how do I shift my identity? Not in a year, not after massive change, not after your life looks different, but now, today, in a way that's small enough to begin, yet powerful enough to create momentum. This is where most people overcomplicate things. They believe identity shifts require huge leaps, massive confidence, perfect self-image, or a sudden transformation that appears out of nowhere. But identity doesn't change in a moment of force. It changes in a moment of awareness. And there is one micro shift, one simple, quiet, internal adjustment that begins the entire process. The one question that changes your identity. Ask yourself, what is one small thing the next version of me would expect from life? Not what they want, not what they hope for, not what they wish for, what they expect. Because expectation is the emotional command your identity follows. Expectation tells the subconscious, this is who we are now. This is the life we live now. This is the standard we hold now. One shift in expectation shifts your identity. One shifted identity shifts your mindset. One shifted mindset shifts your energy. And one shifted energy shifts your entire reality. Why this works? The subconscious is not motivated by pressure, force, or repetition. It is motivated by clarity and identity alignment. When you decide, even in a small way, that the future version of you expects something different, your internal world begins adjusting to match that expectation. This is the beginning of identity transformation. And inside our community, this is often the first assignment people do, identifying a single upgrade in expectation that begins shifting their internal compass. One shift is enough to start the entire process. The micro-shift practice. Choose one. The next version of me expects peace, not chaos. The next version of me expects alignment, not struggle. The next version of me expects abundance, not scarcity. The next version of me expects self-respect, not self-sacrifice. The next version of me expects clarity, not confusion. The next version of me expects opportunities, not obstacles. Pick the one that hits the deepest, the one that gives you goosebumps, the one that feels like a truth you've been avoiding or overlooking. Then repeat silently, not as an affirmation, but as a decision. This is what the next version of me expects. Not loudly, not forcefully, just clearly. Identity doesn't shift through pressure. It shifts through truth. What you'll feel next. Don't look for fireworks. Look for subtle internal adjustments, a gentle certainty, a quiet confidence, a shift in posture, a calmer mind, a feeling of rightness, a higher standard, a softer nervous system, a clearer direction. These are signs your identity is beginning to update. This is the micro solution, small enough to start, powerful enough to change your trajectory. And once you master this one question, the deeper identity work becomes natural, not forced. You've just taken the first step, the step almost no one takes, the step of recognizing that mindset alone isn't enough, that the real shift happens when your identity begins to align with the future you desire. And here's the thing most people never hear. You were never meant to walk this journey alone. Yes, your transformation is personal. Yes, your growth comes from within. Yes, your identity blooms in silence. But the truth is, identity shifts faster when you are surrounded by people who are shifting too. Inside our community, I watch this happen every day. Someone makes a tiny shift, a single expectation change, a single identity upgrade, and suddenly their entire reality begins to move with them. Not through pressure, not through force, but through resonance, through alignment, through support. Transformation accelerates when you have a place that strengthens the new identity you're stepping into. Here's the simple truth. You've outgrown the version of you who struggled alone. You're stepping into a version that doesn't fight for change, but embodies it. And embodiment becomes easier when you're surrounded by others on the same path. This journey was never about perfection. It was about evolution. You're evolving, you're rising, you're shifting, you're stepping into alignment with your highest self. And you deserve a space where that version of you is normal, expected, encouraged, and supported every day. You don't need to know the full path. You just need to take the next step. The micro solution you learn today is powerful enough to begin the shift. But identity work is a journey, layer by layer, expectation by expectation, vibration by vibration. And if you're ready, the next step is simple. Come walk with us, not in a marketplace, not in a pressure-driven environment, not in a noisy world filled with empty promises, but in a space built for you, for your growth, your clarity, your expansion, your identity awakening. A space where you're not just learning, you're becoming. The gentle invitation. If this message spoke to something inside you, if you felt the shift, if you know you're ready to rise into the next version of yourself, then consider this your invitation. Not a pitch, not pressure, just a hand extended from someone who believes in your potential to someone who's ready to grow. Inside the MindShift membership, we go deeper into identity alignment, vibrational upgrades, subconscious rewiring, daily support, and the step-by-step process of becoming the version of you you've always felt inside. If the micro shift resonated, the full journey will transform you. You're ready, you're becoming, you're stepping into a new identity, one decision at a time. And this moment, could be the decision that changes everything. Your future self isn't waiting for perfection. They're waiting for movement, for alignment, for the moment you choose who you're going to be next. This is that moment. This is your shift. This is your identity awakening. This is your mind shift.